Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by Generals Joe's REBORN.com. And it's a Super 7 kind of episode tonight. Yes. So shortly, very shortly after we finish, in fact, it was probably during our weekly episode yesterday morning, images arose, courtesy of Nathan Camazel, of a Super 7 Ultimates, what seems to be version 2 homage Storm Shadow. We'll get into all the details that we're aware of, or a few. So there were, I noticed a few comments and wanted to kind of see where people kind of landed with some of the things that were on there. Let me just sort of like this out, so I don't have to. There we go. So I don't have to keep leaning backwards. Yeah. So we will go through as much as we know. At the moment, we don't really know what it's for, what its intention is for, if it's just like a standard release or if it's for something upcoming. Obviously, Joe Fest is around the corner, so there's a possibility there. SDCC is around the corner, so that's a heavy possibility as well. Or it could just be, one of those random. There you go. Well, anyway, we'll get into that. We'll also talk about the figure, what we can see. We'll talk about that as well. Should have a bit of fun tonight. So yeah, if you're into a bit of Super 7 stuff, then you should have a good time. And if not, you probably won't have a good time, but stay anyway. Let's do this. I should also say happy Father's Day, because that's what it is. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. My father is with us today. He's upstairs. Obviously, I'm in the HQ. I'm in the basement, the HQ basement. But mom and dad are both here from the UK, so that's been fun. And we've had a lovely day. Dad wore his. I bought him. This was the last year or the year before. I bought him the GI Joe Heroic Dad T-shirt that's got like Roadblock, Duke, and Snake Eyes on it. And he's been wearing that all day, so that's been fun. So we went on. We've done some fun stuff today. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the chat. Thank you for reminding me to say that, Jeremy, by the way. And yeah, it's been a good one. Even I got a little card from my wonderful little Phoebe as well. So as a doggy dad, I guess it's my day as well. Right then, let's talk Ultimates Storm Shadow. I almost said classified. Ultimates Storm Shadow version. I'm saying V2 because that's obviously where the homage is here. Now, a couple of things to note. A lot of people were posting comments saying, what does this have to do? Usually they just do the Sunbow cartoon and all this kind of stuff. What does this have to do with that? What the Ultimates is and what Brian tends to do is he will do like a thing where when he does a repaint like this, where it's not something that did appear in it, because there's been plenty of them where they don't appear in the cartoon, it's almost done as a what if scenario. What if this Storm Shadow was GI Joe and was in the cartoon for like an episode or so? So there's an element here of a what if scenario. So he's talked about this in the past in multiple interviews that we've kind of discussed. We've obviously had Red Jackal repaint. We've had Red Knock Baroness. We've had lots of different kind of repaints that aren't necessarily characters or depictions that have appeared in the cartoon or in the comic or whatever. They've just been an action figure, or they've just been they missed a certain period for animation. So having said that, I will also say a lot of these did actually make animation in commercials, didn't they? And I want to say this has been in commercials, this version of Storm Shadow, where they've done either rotoscope or a little bit of animated to go along with it, or maybe with one of the comic commercials. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure we have seen this Storm Shadow in some form, in some sort of commercial capacity. And if it wasn't animated in that commercial, then I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, does it come with a hood? Don't know, FC Viper. We only know what we can see on the images. Let's look at those images. So here are the two main images. There is an image at the bottom of the box, but I mean, who cares? Did I really need to put that on this slideshow? Probably not. If you're desperate to see the bottom of the box with all the gumph and information, go check out our Facebook page where we posted the images. Now, they're from Nathan Camazel, who did also mention on the comments that they're also from I think a Chinese website. I believe it's probably Weibo again, but that's when Nathan got them. He hasn't he didn't leak these, as it were. They were already out there. So thank you, Nathan, for obviously posting them. And then we posted them yesterday, and I didn't go live until now, but it's been busy. Give me a break. It's not exactly news. This is more just discussion after the fact. Okay, think of it as that. Chris, do you know anything about the next full wave of Ultimates? Maybe some news at Joe Fest? Pez Dispenser, I believe they are revealing things at Joe Fest. They're revealing upcoming product and stuff at Joe Fest. They should have, I think, models of O-Ring as well. So they should have some O-Ring stuff for physical reveal, as in to show off. But I'm sure they'll be revealing in their panel. I'm sure they'll be revealing things like O-Ring, Ultimates, maybe even some reaction stuff as well. So yeah, that I do know they will be revealing things. Do I know anything about the next full wave of Ultimates? I do not, actually. I know of some items that are coming down the pipe, but I don't have any information about the next proper wave of Ultimates. A lot of people were saying in the comments as well, I thought this line had been done. I thought they kind of finished it. No, what happened was they didn't get enough pre-orders for that particular kind of sub-wave, where it was the kind of Deke animated color ways of Baroness, Lady J, and Scarlet, which I'm still quite sad about, honestly. But you know, it just wasn't. I mean, I think it was just one of those things where people didn't want it necessarily. I know some people did, but obviously not enough people. So that was the only reason that it wasn't like the end of Ultimates. It was just the end of that particular group of 3 figures. Now they may find their way out in some other way, shape, or form. I don't know. Who knows? But at the moment, we're dealing with these kind of releases, and I'm looking at this one, and I've got to say it first, I really do. I like the vibe. Now, this is a standard kind of version 1 Storm Shadow in the version 2 homage deco, right? Or version 2 deco with the Tetris blocks, which have turned into T's and Y's, haven't they? I'm not sure if they were always that. I think there were a bit more. There was a bit more variation, I believe, on the original. I could be wrong. No, I think there was a bit more variation on the original, but they kind of ended up doing like a. There was a version they did. Yeah, they did it on the sneakers, which I'm looking at here. I'll just grab the sneakers, which are right next to me, the box anyway, and they sort of did this with it. So it's kind of like a kind of uniform almost kind of deco, and that, I don't know, kind of sort of got taken on a little bit because there was definitely more variation. You can kind of see more variation in the actual Storm Shadow 25th art. That's the 25th art, by the way, not the dusty, not dusty, but that's the 25th, not the vintage artwork. Both of them are cool, but I have to say the vintage Storm Shadow version 2 artwork is probably my favorite of all time. Now, a lot of people talking about the hood. Seems a bit lacking without the hood. I don't know if there is a hood in there somewhere. I haven't been able to kind of see anything. I don't know if there's stuff behind him. It doesn't. I mean, it looks like they're trying to kind of almost do a Sunbow Storm Shadow, but with the winter deco, with the urban camouflage. I believe it's actually technically what it is. But yeah, that's what they've gone with on this one. Cheers. That's a good point. RKW should have come with the Arashikage arm, so almost like a short sleeve rather than like a wrapped arm. Maybe it does. Maybe you just can't see it in the box, because there are certain situations with Ultimates where some of the stuff gets hidden. I'm pretty sure there's a ripped arm on the other Storm Shadow, isn't there? Maybe they took that out. I don't know, but it seems weird considering he's so well known for the Arashikage tattoo in this version of the figure. But what I do like the thought of is Storm Shadow in the Sunbow cartoon joining G.I. Joe kind of thing. Anyway, here's a nice close-up. It is Storm Shadow 1.5. I like that one, Jeremy. I like that one a lot. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much. And to you as well, FC Viper. What's the super chat price to unlock the Chris's parents tier? That would be about $16 trillion. Actually, if it was big enough, I'd probably have to just drag them down here and go, say hello, because people have paid to see your faces. We don't know if it comes with a hood. And the original does come with it. Yes, he does, absolutely. So it's possible that it comes with this one, but like I said, it might be hidden, or they might have cut it out for costing. I don't know, but it seems weird considering the version 2 is so synonymous, is so connected with that Arashikage tattoo, that I'm surprised it wasn't almost the default arm. You know, even though it's ripped and torn, I would probably have gone with that as the default. Anyway, lots of hands, so many hands. I have to admit, I am definitely of the collector mentality that doesn't need a lot of hands. I tend to just rock. I mean, rock and roll. I like the thought of them giving him that, but that's his default hand. You could have gotten away with not giving me 2 C grips. And I wouldn't have even noticed. I know that's not the case for everybody, and I know more likely people would want, you know, a couple of C grips, as it were. Whee! Yes, but will it go in the HasLab canteen? No, Leon, it won't. I don't. Has that? I have not been paying attention. I need to see what the canteen is doing at the moment. I am interested. I do keep an eye on those HasLabs to see how they're getting on. I did I say that hasn't quite reached? It hasn't quite reached the funding goal yet, has it? I might be wrong. Last time I looked at it was probably a couple of days ago, actually. So it might have been unlocked already. I don't know. But anyway, side note, we can see that he comes with the nunchaka, the 2 swords, madam, the knife, shuriken, and of course about 5,000 different hands. And of course, his like quiver backpack thing as well. I imagine he's got to come with the bow, hasn't he? Sort of, probably. Seems weird not to be in there, but I think it might be in there. Oh, there it is. I think it can see it behind the swords. Yeah, I think that's the bow behind the swords. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. All I will say is maybe there might be other things. There might be a hood in there. There might be the kind of arm with the Arashikage tattoo showing through the ripped sleeve. We just don't know yet, basically. So there you go. I do like the look of it. I like the idea. I think it's kind of a fun idea to do, yeah, like a different version, a different repaint of that Storm Shadow, but obviously do that. I think because again, like this isn't a Storm Shadow we've seen in the Sunbow cartoon necessarily. So I kind of see why they've done this sort of version of it, kind of like a 1.5, as Jeremy joked about earlier. But I think I would have liked to see some added elements to differentiate it and maybe even hint towards that version, the original V2, kind of as if it had appeared in the cartoon. Either way, it's pretty cool. I do like it. I am tempted, and I love the fact that the box itself has the deco on it. I do like it when they do that, when it's not just the same box over and over again, like blue for Cobra, green for GI Joe kind of thing. I like it when they switch it up. We had the red ones for Red One. We had the red ones for Destro and the Baron. Well, Red Jackal and the Baroness. So, yeah, it was Sunbow animated commercials. Doomed. Yeah, I did mention that earlier, and I said as well the fact that that happens. I feel like it should be excuse enough to do an Ultimates or a reaction figure or whatever. So, I kind of feel like, yeah, I wish they'd gone that little bit further, done the hood, done the kind of like the short sleeves, maybe kind of thrown some pouch secondary on there. But I do like this. It's a nice little kind of nice little touch. Classified River Otters, codename Laura, please. Okay, done, Stan, done. What I also really like about the box is the extra graphics they do on the back. The file card is really fun. Like, it's the file card, but it's coming up on a computer screen. And I love that. I think it's great. And I think I read it earlier. I think it's exactly the same, more or less, as his version 2 file card from the original line, which is great. Kind of like hinting and insinuating that he's more GI Joe than Cobra now. And yeah, the other kind of visual graphic elements on there is so good, like the radar with the X30 Conquest on there, the kind of like the TV screens that showing different scenes of the one obviously of him when he does that kick with Quick Kick in Pyramid of Darkness, and they both jump past each other, kick and then land, and then Storm Shadow drops to his knees in his face. So that's from there, but they've obviously added the extra deco on the figure for his front taken scenes from the cartoon. I like that. I think that's really fun. And again, it adds to that. Oh, what if he could have been? If he could have been like this in, you know, in the cartoon sort of thing. It's brilliant, and the graphics are cool, and the little globe with all the text on it. Love that. Lovely touches on the Ultimates boxes. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I think. Is there anything else? I did do the close up, and oh yeah, of course I did a close up on the file card, didn't I? Yes, assassin, intelligence, classified. Oh, it says Cobra Ninja on there actually. I didn't notice that before, but that actually they've put Cobra Ninja on there, which makes me think, okay, well maybe this is just Storm Shadow in his regular garb. Oh no, in Cobra, but with a different, deco sort of thing. Yeah, the Great Ninja Assassin clans disappeared 100 years ago. If they were wiped out, nobody took the credit for it. And if they're still around, who are they working for? Yeah, but there's nothing in there that really. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 30 Generations thing was in his second file card, but maybe it's in his first as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. Either way, I was mistaken a bit there. I genuinely thought until I saw that Cobra Ninja under his name that this was Storm Shadow if he was a G.I. Joe in the Sunbow cartoon. It looks as though it's a what if Storm Shadow was in this uniform in the Sunbow cartoon, but still with Cobra. So there you go. We don't know if it comes with the hood, Stygian. We don't know. It could do, but we don't know. This is his water tower training day outfit when it is over 100 degrees. It is actually sweatpants and a sweatshirt. That would be amazing. I definitely want to see Storm Shadow in like a more casual vibe. I felt like, the unmasked one, which I went nuts for, by the way, back in the kind of like, it was like in that comic pack sort of era, kind of like the early 2000s, where we had the comic packs, obviously, and then they were doing the mail away stuff. And we had a Tommy Arashikage unmasked 4-inch figure, which obviously had, the hood could come off and you had the head. I loved that figure. I was so excited for it. And obviously it was a mail away, so that was kind of fun too. We'd had, I think, a mail away doc as well in that form in the modern era, as well as obviously the vintage, of course. But like, I like the fact that we could get that Tommy unmasked figure. I thought was wicked. I'd love to see something like that in the classified series, because if we're going to do, obviously they've got to do multiple versions of the main core, right? I'd happily take Storm Shadow figures all day long. The classified version 2, love it. The version, kind of the retro version, sensational. The classified version, more or less the same with some slight tweaks here and there, but still pretty damn cool. I love the Arctic Mission one's really dope, but the only problem with that is that it's hindered with the kind of poor articulation in the legs, which is mental to me, and still probably, I think, one of their biggest errors early on that they learn from. I will give them that, though. They certainly learned from that particular error in judgment with the lower leg articulation. It's a shame that it really only affects that Storm Shadow. But my God, what an awesome figure that would have been with that that cut in the legs, so you could actually get them in, because you cannot get them in good positions. I'm sorry, like it's just some things you cannot do with that figure, and it's mental just from that like split, kind of like the boot cut, isn't it? Basically, that kind of shin split, and that blows my mind that something so simple can unlock so much more in terms of articulation. But my goodness, they did learn from that quite dramatically. Oh, interesting. Okay, sorry. Cannot multitask. You know me. We got robbed of a transition to good guy in the cartoon. Absolutely, Leon. Absolutely. Did we just... Because Storm Shadow was in the Deke cartoon, wasn't he? He was in the Ninja Force, right? I'm pretty sure he was. So we didn't get that. Was he? I brain fart massively on that one. I assume there was no like origin story as to why that transition happened. Yeah, you're totally right. That would have been great. Okay, hear me out on this, right? Getting the right team on this is obviously imperative, and especially like a team of people that know the history of pretty much all the intricacies and everything, because I think they should do an X-Men 97 thing and do a continuation of the Sunbow series. Do it like very similar as well. Like try and keep that vibe, try and keep the animation style, try and keep the the fun of it, like the ridiculousness of it. I think like the Saturday morning adventures were just so good that I wanted that in animated form. And how good would it be following the movie? We get a couple of like little story arcs, one of which being Storm Shadow's transition to the Joes. A couple of other things like a bit more kind of like the return of Cobra La sort of thing. You thought that maybe that would be like at the end of the finale of the first season. It'd be like, oh wait, something has emerged from the Himalayas, like after all these years, and it's like like well whatever that kind of thing. I think that'd be so cool. And going into doing some fun episodes, doing some like a little bit like a couple of story arcs that maybe work really well in the comics that could be translated into the cartoon as well. But Storm Shadow's Storm Shadow's transition into being G.I. Joe would be a great bridge of an episode, and still wouldn't like get rid of the Deke cartoon necessarily. The problem you have is the Deke cartoon does follow pretty tight on the close on the heels of the film, so you'd probably have to think of a way to spread that out. Kitty said to spread that out and have like maybe Cobra Commander doesn't show up because he's obviously in his snake form, or he's in the snake form the entire time, and then like at the end of that series leads into the Deke cartoon. I think, and then maybe do more episodes. Again, don't go too Deke, right? Keep it a bit more Sunbow in terms of your quirkiness. Don't go too far over there. But then, maybe do a series that ties the film to the Deke cartoon, right? Cool. And then follows on after the Deke cartoon series as well. That would be great, I think. And then, if it's successful and popular, keep it going. I just think that'd be so cool. And we could get, again, what I think would be really awesome, especially if there were people involved in said production who knew the intricacies of the history, the specific things that they feel should be included, should be righted, that kind of thing. That would be great, wouldn't it? And like we could have characters that never showed up in the cartoon at all. They could get their debuts. You could have sub teams that never showed up. They could get their kind of time in the sun. It would be great. I think it would be so cool. Maybe avoid doing a storyline like Benzene and I forget the blooming name of the place where they all got shot by the Saw Viper. Maybe avoid that because this is Sunbow after all. We want to keep it light. But I think that'd be great. And I'd love that. I think it'd be so much fun. So much fun. And if they don't do it in animated form, I think doing it in comic form would be an absolute winner. Just little minis here and there. Just, oh God, I need that. And when IDW did it at the end of their bloody license, I could have screamed because it was so good. It was so good. And it was fun. And the story was spot on with how ridiculous Sunbow can be sometimes. Friggin' genie in a lamp. Like, it's perfect. Giant bats. I mean, it couldn't have been any more Sunbow if it tried. And it was really good. And it had a PSA at the end. And it was just awesome. I want that on a regular basis, please and thank you very much. I really do. I think it just needs to be, it definitely needs to be revisited in some form, I think. And like there are so many cool things you could kind of do. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that kind of thing and what storylines you'd like to see them do. Yes, he does. I know. Yeah, he's definitely Ninja Force doomed. So it's weird that obviously he's a good guy in that one. Right, continuation of the Sunbow show would be amazing. I think so. There were Sunbow models in John Sorensen's book for many characters that were only briefly seen in commercials. The template is there, absolutely. Barking Fridge. I prefer that they just act as if Deke never happened. Fair enough. And just continue the Sunbow story, then work in Deke characters as they go in a more reimagined approach. I could also see that X Factor 17. I would be cool with that. Deke can live in its own kind of world, really, and it can definitely still exist. It's not being declassified in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, maybe if you treated the Sunbow continuation as that, and that is then like almost like a Back to the Future new timeline sort of thing. You've created it's your kids, Marty. Anyway, and I think a lot of people would be fine with that. I do think that. I know someone that wouldn't be fine with that, and that would be Adam Riches. And I also, yeah, I want to be, careful of. I don't want to annoy anyone in that sense, but at the same time, yeah, I think I wouldn't mind either way what they did on it. Deke to us is like Phantom Menace is. Oh, sorry, to Star Wars people, yeah, they both have their generational fans. Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, I did another close up. This image again, I just wanted to get close up of it so we could see everything nice and clearly. And we have seen this; it's been replicated on lots of the boxes. But I love the fact we've got, the kind of, well, that's the thing. It's like the map with kind of GI Joe stars on it, and the X-30 Conquests on the radar, and it's GI Joe Super. I know it's GI Joe's the brand anyway, but whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure if we'll have to speak to Brian about this as to what the idea is behind. Is he a Joe or is he a Cobra? Even though it does say quite clearly Cobra Ninja on there. Either way, it's cool, and you can do whatever you want with it, can't you? It doesn't matter what it says in the box. But yeah, that's everything, I believe. Bit of a quickie tonight, but I'm happy to stay a little bit longer and chat with you guys on this Father's Day special. But yeah, let's obviously I'll stick around for some more comments. Oh, FC Viper says, okay, gotta go. My family's looking at me funny and asking me, what are you watching on Father's Day? Have a wonderful Father's Day, FC Viper, and enjoy your family, mate. Absolutely, go nuts. Adam Riches loves Deke. Yes, he does. RKW. I definitely am warming to it the more I watch some of the episodes I haven't seen in ages. But yeah, it's still, some of it is still so difficult to get into. Yeah, like Metalhead screaming all the time, that Granny Dearest episode, it's just hard work. But there's a lot of fun in there. There's a lot of cool stuff, and I do love. It's like, where's Wally or where's Waldo for GI Joe as well sometimes, because they throw so many characters, so many figures and vehicles. It's amazing. I missed the beginning of the stream. Do we know where this figure is getting released? Is it Joe Fest? So we don't know any of the details for this one, unfortunately, but we are assuming we'll probably have more information over Joe Fest, if not maybe SDCC. But yeah, probably I would imagine that the fact we're seeing this so far along and sort of in hand to a certain degree could insinuate that we might be getting some information about it sooner rather than later. I can't think of much. I mean, they might do they might do a Yojo June sort of thing. They might be waiting for like the end of the month when the pre-orders are finished with Hasbro. So it could be like, maybe we see this at the end of the month, and maybe it's released with other figures. Maybe it's one of the next wave. That's another thing. Like, just because it's got different packaging doesn't necessarily mean exclusive. Zartan is the SDCC exclusive RKW. There's no reason to think there'll be more than one, because we know there's more than one. But we don't know if Storm Shadow is involved in that. But yes, Zartan is the SDCC exclusive. SDCC exclusive. Do we know the price of Tuesday's pre-orders? What have we got coming? We've got the... Oh yeah, so the Stinger is going to be $99.99, same as the Vamp, and the Sergeant Slaughter sort of deluxe figure is $34.99, and the 2-pack is whatever 2-packs are, 50 something. Is it $54.99? I think it's $54.99, isn't it? Something like that. It's whatever 2-packs are. You'll have to go back and look at how much, like, the what else have we had 2-packs wise? I can't. Oh, Steel Core. Look at this. Whatever the Steel Core one cost, which I think was $54.99, right? I think anyway. Classified Lifeline, Chris. That is all. Deluxe Lifeline. I'd love a Lifeline SDCC exclusive. That would be amazing. I thought Starduster was SDCC. Nope. Starduster is PulseCon. Raptor is SDCC. So Brian, Raptor is the classified SDCC exclusive for Hasbro. Starduster is the PulseCon exclusive for Hasbro. And Zartan, Ultimates Zartan, is the SDCC exclusive for Super7. Just so no one's getting confused, there's a lot of things being thrown around at the moment. And what Stygian is talking about is something he wants to see as a deluxe classified figure. They're not what's coming, and certainly not what's an SDCC exclusive. Hope that helps. You're welcome. You're welcome. He said thanks. I'm not that kind of person that's saying like I've answered the question and then you're welcome before you. No, you said thanks in the thing, so I'm saying you're welcome. Yeah, we had burgers, full course, Stygian. We had burgers today. I made burgers and fries, and we had those, and it was yummy. Like Beyond Meat burgers, not actual meat. But it was awesome. Cheers. Right then, what else are we saying? I think that's pretty much it. If you've got any other questions, throw them in there and we can talk about them. Brian says Salvo and Redeco Rock and Roll, CC Supersuit, all good things that came from DID. Yeah, there's loads of cool stuff actually that we got in the like tanned road pig. Yeah, I would. Salvo was really cool. Ambush, Pathfinder. I mean, there's a lot of good figures that we can expect in the future. I'm saying like Ambush is going to be dope, and I would expect will come with soft goods like camouflage soft goods and stuff because it's blooming Ambush. Salvo would be great as well with the huge rocket launcher. Rock and Roll, Sonic Fighters, Sonic Fighters Rock and Roll would be phenomenal. The Cobra Commander battlesuit, absolutely. You're so right, Brian. All great options to come from the Deep cartoon. It's not all awkward watching. Some of it's really fun. Will the Hat Off Sarge be randomly distributed or to one retailer? So that is effectively, we're just going to get, I think it's going to be, they're just going to put them out, they'll go, and then it'll be a running change situation. I imagine it'll just be a running change. And it'll be one of those things that's really hard to get if you're after that. Or it might not be that hard to get. I don't know. But the fact is, one of them is not going to be as plentiful as the other one, I'm sure. I'm glad there will be a PulseCon still. Oh, absolutely. Dino Hunters Ambush, please, says Jeremy. Absolutely. Brian says, since we are never going to get a whale or sky striker, never mind aircraft carrier, I would like to see a 3-pack of Admiral Keelhaul, Cutter, and Topside. Also Ace, Slipstream, and Ghost Rider. A couple of things I will say about that, though, Brian. I don't think the Sky Striker's off the table. And I also don't think the X30 Conquest... I think the X30 Conquest is a possibility, a high possibility. It's got that kind of iconography. It's like Slipstream, obviously, as a pilot. It's smaller than the other jets. It's definitely you could get away with it being a bit smaller than a Rattler, which is obviously around the corner. So I don't think a Sky Striker is definitely off the table. I don't think it'll be next, but I don't think it'll ever be a position where they're like, I think at some point we might get that. But if it's not next year, it would have to be 2027, right? So that's quite a ways off because they do the Joe Cobra sort of thing, don't they? Yes, if they're doing a Rattler, they can do a Conquest, absolutely. So I don't think Ace and Slipstream necessarily have to come out like single carded. I think we can get them with those vehicles eventually. Like Ace will be the longest wait we've ever had for a figure, no doubt. But I am saying there's a chance, Brian. Absolutely. Stygian. Road Pig sounds like roadkill, which frankly would be a great vehicle for Road Pig to roam around in. Can I shock you? Can I shock you? Road Pig in the European missions, and of course what it was originally, Action Force Monthly, shows up in, I think, issue 11 in the story Wild Wildlife, where Psych Out is running a sort of like a psychiatric report on outback in the Australian outback. So they're both together, kind of like you know, camping in the outback, and they come across the dead dreadnoks. And during it's like a psychiatric evaluation basically, because they feel like he's not quite, you know, with it. Outback, they think he's a bit crazy, but he kind of has to be to be a survivalist and to kind of live on his own in the you know, in the difficult conditions and stuff. Anyway, in that issue, Road Pig is shown driving a what is called a, oh, what's it called now? It's already a name in the GI, Razorback. It's got Razorback written on it, and it's a big truck, like a flat front truck with spikes on it, like it's in fact, I might be able to find the slideshow that it's in, because it would have been let's talk classified Road Pig, wouldn't it? Yeah, I might be able to sneakily show you exactly what I'm talking about with the skills of a ninja. Yeah, I can. Ready? There you go. God, as if by magic. There you go. There's Road Pig in his Razorback. Now, obviously, like, this is something that was just done for the Marvel UK issue that then obviously got reprinted as European missions. But how much fun would this be? Some sort of like zombie apocalypse, like Mad Max truck. And there's Road Pig riding it as well. But obviously, with Razorback taken, Roadkill is certainly there, isn't it? So I think you could get away with, you know, getting this and calling it Roadkill. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I'd definitely buy the Roadkill Dreadnought vehicle. Yeah, same here. With the Star Wars HasLab being 31 days, will all HasLab become 31 days? Not sure, actually. It used to be 40 something, didn't it? What did it used to be? I feel like it was 40 something, like 45 or something. Oh, Todd says, sorry, realized how far behind I was. What did you say? Duke's Recovery. What did I? Oh, you mean in the Sunbow cartoon? Boom. There you go. Great shout, Todd. Sorry, when you finally get to that point, I'm saying that's a great idea. So apologies, Todd, for being so late in responding to this. By the way, you're watching this video, but Todd C, Duke's Recovery for the Sunbow cartoon. Absolutely. I agree with you. I think Sky Striker will be the 2025 HasLab. So what are we in at the moment? So it'll be a rat. Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry, I'm an idiot. It could be 2025 Stygian, 100% actually, because obviously, yeah, what we're in 2024 now, and that's probably going to be the Rattler, and then next year will be GI Joe again. I think Sky Striker could be a possibility. I think there are other ones they've, you know, been in development as well, based on like information that has come out of like focus groups and all sort of things like that after the fact. I think a Mobat is definitely up there. And again, kind of iconic based on the kind of front cover of the Marvel issue 1 and the way it was used on, like, you know, merchandise and all that kind of stuff. So there's the carry case. There's definitely, like, you know, I think that is up there as well as an opportunity. I personally would prefer the Mauler. I think the Mauler is one of the most beautiful tanks ever designed. And I know it's based on that kind of concept design one that I think got very minimal sort of like release. But yeah, I'd be all over that. Anyway, yes, I'm going to go back obviously to this that we were on before. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that because I thought it was kind of fun that you know, we'd mentioned the Razorback vehicle that Road Pig drove, and there it was. I knew I had an image of it and I knew I could get to it, so that's awesome. A Roadhog would be nice, New York. Absolutely. Make it like a semi, yeah, and call it Roadhog. That'd be great. You had me at Psych Out, Chris. Oh, mate. I love the Action Force weeklies and monthlies. I adored those comics as a kid, and I love that story with Outback and Psych Out. It's so good. They've got to do a Mauler or a Mobat at some point. Agreed, Doom. Absolutely agree with you. HasLabs have been 43 to 48 days. This 31 day Star Wars HasLab is the first not to be 44 to 48. Interesting, yeah. I think part of the Star Wars HasLab timeframe is due to their delay and such to give space for Joe and Marvel to launch, as Marvel was originally SDCC. Thank you, Jeremy. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I'd love it, Chris. And the Dreadnought back could accompany the Roadkill. Are you? I mean, seriously? I mean, you could do such a good. I mean, like, I know it's not an iconic vehicle; it'd be brand new, right? But they have talked about, would you be interested in new things with the HasLabs? They did ask that question. A lot of people were kind of like, a little bit. It depends, doesn't it? Really, at the end of the day. But I think if they did something like that, like a Dreadnought vehicle that isn't a Thunder Machine, because it feels like that's going to be retail at some point, but they could do like a Dreadnought truck, like a Mad Max thing, spikes all over it, all that good stuff. And yeah, in the tier list, you could get Sonic Fighter's Road Pig. Obviously, he'd be the driver. You could get, like Burnout. You could get, who was that? The Dreadnought Bat that you just mentioned. Yeah, Dreadnought Bat. A couple of Dreadnought Bats that were all messed up and kind of, I don't know, like kind of do it yourself, stuck together with duct tape and things like that. What's it called? Like spray paint on them and things. It'd be so dope. And then you could have other characters in there. You could like do. I'm trying to think of other characters now that haven't been done, but obviously, like I want to see Zanzibar on his skiff at some point. I think that's a possibility. I know people have been like, really, but no, I'd love to get the skiff with Zanzibar. I'm hyped for HasLab no matter what it is. I wonder if they will reveal the tiers up front. Can't remember now what they do now. I think they slowly reveal them still, don't they? They did that with the last one with the Dragonfly, so it will probably be slowly revealed bit by bit. Because I think that's part of the fun for me with classified HasLabs. It's like you get that excitement initially of the vehicle and all the accoutrement, and then it's like, that's all the excitement, and then it's like, oh great, we get to wait for like a tier to unlock before, and then that definitely gets the motors going, doesn't it? For the actual, that's a tried and tested effective maneuver that the Joe team have definitely employed with the HasLabs. It's like, yeah, don't reveal everything at once and just be like, this is unlocked, this is unlocked, this is unlocked, and it's just like bang bang bang, because everyone wants to see them and we get them unlocked, and I love it. The Equalizer was good too. Yes, it was, Doomed. It was. The show and the Mad Marauders vehicle, the Slaughter's Marauders vehicle, sorry. With regards to cartoons, I would love it if Hasbro did with G.I. Joe what Marvel did with X-Men 97 and bring G.I. Joe right after the Sunbow series ended and include such new class recruits. Absolutely agree with you. I've mentioned that earlier in the episode, but I totally agree with you on that one. Todd, I'm hyped for HasLab. No, yeah, I've done that one. Sorry, Todd. Benjamin Yoon says, also, the Ramen Toys tank may force Hasbro's hand to release a tank. Possibly. Very possibly. Those are amazing as well. Like, the stuff they do is kind of crazy as well. Like, I look at it and it's one of those things I admire from a distance. But I look at their stuff and I'm like, that's beautiful. The mask stuff's really fun as well. I just saw that Shattered Glass sort of Thunderhawk they did. So cool. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I was daydreaming a bit there. I'd prefer the Wolverine if we got a tank. I always preferred it over all the other tanks as a child and still do. The Wolverine is pretty cool, and I think the Wolverine is one we could get at retail. And maybe they could do that with some sort of cover girl scenario or another driver. Maybe Ton Up, who is effectively just G1 or version 1 rock and roll. I say effectively, it is. Amore HasLab, and I'd legit poop myself. Definitely. I think Amore would be stunning. One of my favorite vehicles that I never had as a kid, but did get later years. I've only got it boxed though. I've never had it out. I've never really enjoyed it as a loose thing. I've only got a boxed version, a boxed Action Force version as well, back in the UK. But again, that is a vehicle I would love to enjoy with my hands. Kitty said, as a classified version. Wolverine and Lynx are my favorite tanks. They're good tanks, Jeremy. They really are. Would love to see a new PSA with Scoop and or Dial Tone talking about the dangers of social media. This is what I'm saying. It would just make sense to do it. It would just make sense. And that's the thing, like that would definitely be one of those natural things that came up when you're talking about doing PSAs for the modern era, like social media, and, depression, um, the danger, like being financially responsible. Not even kidding. Do you know what I mean? Like, as collectors, that can sometimes get a little out of hand. I definitely think that would be a really fun PSA, and definitely so meta. It's not unreal because they know kids wouldn't be watching that cartoon. It would be all us watching it, kind of going, "Yep, that hurts. That's too close to home." Amazing. I'm attempting to convince Ramen Toy to create a Cold Slither colorway tour van. That would be the bread car van. That would be amazing. Stanley. That's awesome, Chris. Psych Out needs more love in the US. Check it out, Stygian. It's great. Great issue. 2024 Rattler and Call Me Crazy. 2025 Whale. Eben, a whale would be great. I'm not against it at all. It would be huge, but I'd be here for it. It would probably be in the high end, though, wouldn't it, in terms of cost? Because you've got to kind of take into consideration the size of it, the complexity of it, and then there's going to be things that need to work on it. Because otherwise, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So I think, it's going to be pretty amazing. With Seth Green's team going to Joe Fest, I now have the dream that we get a TV show that is just a silly stop motion series with Classified. Yes, I heard about Seth Green going to be at Joe Fest. That's really fun, isn't it? So yeah, I hope everyone that's going enjoys all of that because it sounds amazing. Wolverine and Lynx are dope. Yes, they are. I adore the whale, but in Classified, the size would be absurd. Hey, let's let it happen. Not showing the tears shows how much confidence they have in the HasLab. No, that's true, because it's like, we know that you want this, so let's see you want it, basically. And if you want to unlock that, you know what to do. It's kind of like, it definitely kind of in what's the word, it kind of motivates you, doesn't it? It motivates you to be like proactive rather than kind of sitting back and seeing how it progresses and then maybe jumping on at the end. It kind of allows you to, or no, it forces you in a way, especially with our mentalities as collectors, to desperately want to see what that figure is. So it's like, right, okay, well, we'll pledge now. Let's do this. I want to see it. Bruh, give me ton up and bench press. Yeah, absolutely. I still think Renegades would make a great movie, just saying. Oh, I'd love GL. The Renegades I was a massive fan of. I know it's one of those things that, it splits the fandom a little bit. But I really love the animated series we've had with G.I. Joe. I really enjoyed Resolute. Like, it's his own thing. It's like it operates in its own little universe, but I was really entertained by it. Renegades was absolutely phenomenal. Like, I just loved it. I love the writing. I love the way they kind of modernized everything. The way they did that initial season where the kind of characters were being like added, as this team of renegades were kind of evading capture, and there's Doc and there's Airtight and there's Barbecue and there's Law and so on and so forth. So it was like, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt really good. I think it's more just a psychological strategy. Absolutely, Stygian. Yeah, the HasLab tiers thing is definitely psychological strategy. I'm late. Is it real? Yes, it is real. Wolverine would be great. Wolverine would be great. Yeah, everyone's saying that. Big Brawler for the win. I love Big Brawler. I'd like to see Big Brawler, definitely. Resolute was great too. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it. The HasLab price is what you are paying for the HasLab. The tiers are actually bonuses. Oh, 100%, Josh. 100%. You're totally right. What I'm kind of mean is like, it's like, how much do you want those tiers? So you kind of like, in the psychological aspect, you sort of like go early rather than like waiting and seeing, if you know what I mean. Because I have been known to do that myself. Like, there's a psychological aspect to these campaigns, these crowdfunders. But with HasLab and with Classified, I get so excited that it's just a straight away sort of kind of situation. Am I aware of Brian Brink and his HasLab charts? I am, yes. That page that kind of shows you how it's going to go, and based on trends and previous information. Yeah, that site's amazing if that's what you're talking about. Let's see what you're saying. The tiers hidden so they could pivot if needed. Absolutely. There is that element too, Todd, because they have done that. They have definitely done that in the past. Definitely. After big dinner and being showered with presents and love from my family, I know where to get my G.I. Joe fix from. Well, Mr. Magdus, happy Father's Day. I hope you've had a very nice day. We've had a great day today. It's been awesome. A whale would be over that 300 plus for sure. Oh, yeah. Lenny has stated at SDCC in 2023 he does not want to go over the $300 mark, but a whale would do that. Totally, that's exactly, you're right, Eben. I would also suggest that they'll get to a point, I think, where they've run out of vehicles to really do in a HasLab scenario. And I think that's where, they may just go, sod it. Here's a whale for like 450 or whatever. What would you think it would be? I think it would probably be closer to $500, but that might be a bit ridiculous. I mean, it would be phenomenal. It would have to be a working hovercraft though, the size of the feckin' thing. You'd have to be like pushing it around. It'd just be floating around around the room. Sergeant Savage needs more love. I wish we had gotten more episodes or more comics. Pastor Pierogi, again, Sergeant Savage, Extreme, all that stuff. I'd love to see revisited in some aspect, even if it's just getting characters brought into like Classified or Super7 doing them in O-Ring or even Ultimates. I think that would be so friggin' awesome. I could see it more like getting like an Iron Claw in Classified or getting like a Sergeant Savage in Classified than I could see it happening in Super7. But I could definitely see them doing things in O-Ring that would kind of like bringing those particular characters from that era into an O-Ring figure, which I think would be a really good thing to do. Now I'm hoping they throw in a parachute for the DF HasLab, Dragonfly HasLab. Yeah, they won't be doing that. It looks like the parachute will be coming with the Halo Jumper action pilot. Or whatever that. I mean, it was the listing says action pilot, but the information that's come out since says Halo Jumper. So I don't know how it's going to be written down. If it's going to have that action pilot information, like name on it, I don't know. But effectively, Halo Jumper, it appears to be the case, and will probably come with a parachute. The Cobra Steel Kaiju for HasLab would be cool. That would be kind of fun. But I don't like. I don't know if it's like. I don't know if it's interesting enough. You could definitely do some really cool tiers with that one, and you could definitely, add some features to it at that scale, which would make it really cool and interesting. According to Ryan Ting from the Marvel team, the tiers are baked into the initial offering. That might be the case with the Marvel one, but I'm pretty sure with the HasLab for G.I. Joe and Classified, they've stated it that you're basically getting bonus things after the fact, and everything like the funding goal sorts the actual base offering out, and then everything after the fact is based on reaching tier unlocks. So that it's like you're paying for that to be funded. And then because lots of people are paying it, it goes into that tier section where they unlock other things because they're getting the money to do so. But you're not paying any more. You're just paying for that initial tier, and like everything else is effectively a bonus for you. They've explained that multiple times. It may be different with Marvel because it's a different model entirely based on the fact that Hasbro don't own it. It is with Marvel, it's like, licensed kind of situation. So they probably have to do that with the Marvel thing. Something like they don't have to do necessarily with G.I. Joe. In the Dragonfly opening vid, they talked about the big guys. What are they talking about? Nemesis Immortal and Road Pig. That's what they're talking about. Roadblock will fit that Dragonfly harness. No worries. 39999 is my guess for a whale. Yeah, I think it might be a bit more, Eben. I think you'd probably be looking at more. Well, actually, that's quite a big leap, isn't it? That would probably work because we've been in like the 275s, haven't we? And like, kind of really impressively for what we get. what we've got with the Hiss tank and what we're about to get with the Dragonfly, the price is phenomenal. Like, it's crazy good. So like based on, in terms of like what we should expect, or what we can expect now for the price of things, I think the price for those two HasLabs have just been insanely good. I want the fridge to be a big guy. He can use the same buck as Road Pig. I'd love it if they did fridge. That'd be amazing. Gonna have to catch replay. Just tuning in. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Jay's Solo Arts. I always get that wrong because I read it badly. But thank you, Jay. Do you see Hasbro putting more figures out from Glenda's team? Absolutely, Mr. Magdus and Mad Gus, because they wouldn't. I mean, the logo is what's doing it for me. They've gone all out with like a logo and put Commandos Heroicos and everything. I think we can see more Argent 7. I think we can see more Argentinian releases. I think we'll see more foreign releases in that kind of same vein. We might even see one in the in the next HasLab, which by all accounts sounds like it's going to be the Rattler. I could see them doing something for that that's like a, what do you call it, like a foreign sort of release tier. Classified whale tiers after cutter, topside, tracker, rampart, Navy SEAL shipwreck, and/or wetsuit. I will stop you there because there's some of those I don't think they would do based on them being like characters. Like I could see them doing sub-team versions, like a Navy SEAL shipwreck and a Navy like a on land wetsuit and shipwreck. Definitely different decos, different styles, 100%. When it comes to like topside, track, and rampart, cool ideas, especially topside. I think tracker's a good one as well because of the fact that he's kind of a little bit water based with his little dinghy, and you could throw a dinghy in there as well, couldn't you, with him? But rampart, like I could see that just being that they're gonna do a rampart eventually, almost certainly. So I don't think you'd be locking him away behind a HasLab. But I do love some of those ideas. Funny enough, New York Night, 1974. This is God's honest truth. When we bought this house, and we were in this basement, this very basement, when we purchased this, our realtor, who's, I can say his name because it's the same name as Topside, John Blanchett. We were in down in the basement, and we were chatting away, and he asked, Kate and I were talking about collections. He asked us what we collected. We said G.I. Joe. He said, I'm a G.I. Joe. We said, what? He said, yes, my friend of mine, Alex Russo, ex-Hasbro writer, put his name on the file card for Topside when they were friends back in the day. A bunch of his friends got names and family members got names. And Alex Russo's name is Sky Striker, the Tiger Force Sky Striker figure. So yeah, he basically put like all these names in the file cards, John Blanchett being Topside, and then put in the file card funny little things about like that would relate to John as well. So there's some fun things in there, fun little kind of nods. And we did an episode, an interview with Alex Russo about when I found out he hooked me up with Alex, and we did the interview. It's great. Go check it out on our channel. And he talks about those kind of details and everything. And so random that our realtor, of all the realtors we could have had, we had one who was a G.I. Joe. And that blew our minds. So I thought, Topside for me, yeah, I'd love to see Topside. And I think Topside might be one of those ones that just might work. Because I think you wouldn't be like hugely recognizable necessarily, but would be a really cool one to throw in there with a whale with cutter. Tracker would be so good though, with just as a single release with a dinghy. And like Rampart, I would say Rampart 100% has to be a separate kind of release. But I'm definitely with you on Navy SEAL shipwreck and wetsuit. Definitely, that would be so dope. Those two running off like the front in their like their Navy SEALs sort of like land sort of get up. Oh, it'd be so dope. Eben says, this is a question for Chris and the people watching the stream. Seeing the Dragonfly and the wow factor makes me feel bad for the Star Wars because that cantina is boring. Just my opinion. I would say that obviously it's like it's going to be different for different people, isn't it? I think the Star Wars fans are going to be well excited. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And there's that option where you can kind of separate segments of it and like display segments separately, which I think is a really good idea. So you don't have to do like the whole display. You can kind of separate it out and kind of, do that kind of stuff. I think that's really fun. But yeah, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, isn't it? Basically, Eben. So you might like it, you might not vibe with it, and I think, yeah, but I still think it's something that people want as Star Wars fans. Phoenix says, me and Eben are going to kidnap the Joe team next month in San Diego, make synthoid duplicates of them, and force them to make any HasLab we want. Yeah, keep us updated on how that goes. Will Road Pig fit into the new universal packaging height-wise? Road Pig will, yes, Stanley. It is Nemesis Immortal, which is the tall one. Road Pig is just a different width, basically. What do you mean, Eben? They have cups. Exactly. They have cups. Amazing. That's so funny. Don't deny his cups. Exactly. I won't deny him his cups. Everyone take 5 seconds to hit the like button to help the channel out. Thank you very much, X Factor 17, doing my job for me. And if you aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. We really appreciate it. I'm going to change image to this one just so it makes some sense about what we've talked about. I'll do a little summary in a second, then we'll bring it to a close. Right. I'll get to the comments in a sec. We'll just want to summarize quickly what we've been talking about tonight if you're late to the channel today. Yes, SUPER7 Ultimate Storm Shadow V2 homage has leaked, and thank courtesy of Nathan Camazel. Now, I will say that it is obviously, it's clearly real. We don't know what it's for yet. It could be for the next wave. It could be an exclusive of some description. We'll probably find out sooner rather than later. We've got Yojo June obviously still to kind of complete, and SUPER7 do usually do some sort of reveal release sort of thing. Maybe they're waiting for the back end of the month where the the classified pre-orders have kind of been and gone a little bit. So maybe we'll find out at the end of the month. Maybe we'll find out during July and SDCC. They might reveal what is going on Joe Fest with this one. Who knows? But we will find that information out eventually. But yeah, very nice indeed. Right, I'm going to transition to my face. We'll finish off with some questions and bring it to a close. Right then. What have we got? If they make a second shipwreck, I want a Resolute version with the sweater and watch cap, and I don't want it stuck with a HasLab. Fair enough. I think you could get away with doing like a Tiger Force shipwreck with a HasLab. I think that would work. But yeah, I think that particular version of shipwreck is a very popular one with the cap, the the navy t-shirt, and the just like the standard. It's a cool version of shipwreck. I think everyone would be down for that. And wetsuit as well, like a kind of like Navy SEAL wetsuit with the kind of like I forget what the hat's called, but like the brim all the way around, and like the face camouflage makeup and everything, and all the gear. Oh, it's just always running out of water. It'd be so good. The only cup I care about still needs to be announced as a crossover. Indeed, no idea where that Triple T crossover's gone, but I would again maybe the end of this month, maybe SDCC. It just gets to the point where you're like running out of opportunities to see it. But that said, the information does state that it's kind of going to be coming out. Booney's hat, thank you. It is going to be coming out towards the end of the year anyway. That's always been the case. So because of that, I'm still not surprised we haven't seen it revealed, because they do like to keep the reveal and like in hand dates a lot more minimized now. Will you be getting any fresh Monkey Fiction Order of the Crimson Moon figures? They look like the Palatoy's Action Force characters with slightly different names and head swaps. Indeed, Crash. They look phenomenal. I'm glad they reached their pre-order thing. Honestly, it's definitely something I've contemplated, and I'll have to have a look at them again. But they're going to be great. I mean, they look phenomenal. I saw Roma's post very recently where they had the figures lined up. Absolutely amazing. Yes, I think I'm probably gonna end up like, having to pick them up because they just look really cool. I love the kind of wolf head sort of aspect as well on some of the troops. Obviously, I love the red shadows elements as well. But yeah, I think they're all very very cool, and I might have to dip in. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Happy Father's Day to everyone in the chat with kids who prevent them from collecting it all. Kids, yeah, just happy Father's Day, and shout out to Trav from A Toy Kind of Mood and the rest of the team at A Toy Kind of Mood. Hope you're doing really well, lads. That crimson is beautiful. It really is, isn't it? I couldn't resist that crimson hooded Cobra Commander from FMF. Yeah, that's really, really cool looking as well. Crimson CC in business attire, says Jeffrey. Yes, again, like very, very cool figures. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do it. Kids equals toy beards. Anyway. Wow. Anyway, sorry, I can't multitask for crap. My apologies. If any other comments come in, I will say yes. I think they're amazing. The Crimson Moon figures, I think they're great looking, and I probably will end up getting them. But I'm just really happy that they reached their pre-order kind of thing as well. Yeah, some really, I mean, it's kind of like, it feels like characters we might not have seen elsewhere or otherwise. Kind of feels that way. I don't know if it will be another situation where Hasbro might kind of feel like they need to do them as well, sort of in that kind of third party Transformers thing where you get like a third party character done because they feel like it's never ever gonna get done, and then they see that, oh, that was really popular, let's do it, and they do it as well, kind of. Yeah, so I don't know, we'll see, I guess, in the end. But in any case, I think that brings us to the end, honestly. Do we know if the FMF figures will scale well with classified? I assume they will, Jason. I don't think I've seen any comparisons yet, but I have to assume they won't be too far off each other, will they? Surely. A great figure for HasLab Whale would be the Navy SEAL wetsuit that the club did in 2011 for the Mission Brazil set. Yeah, definitely agree with the boonie hat. The other one I jumped on was the Sergeant Major kind of outfit one. Oh yeah, the Sergeant Major does look really cool, doesn't it? Or Black Major. Yeah, definitely, very cool. Or do you mean Sergeant Major from Destro's? Because there is one with like the jacket, isn't there? Anyway, oh, thank you, Newfie. That's really kind. Newfie 4024, 4024, or 4024, or 4024, or 4024 thank you for the super chat. For you to start a Crimson Moon fund. So we do that in the chat. If you want me to have Crimson Moon figures, give me money. I'm just kidding. Dude, thank you so much. That's really kind of you. I certainly wasn't angling for that, but thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Happy Father's Day, and have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you. In any case, guys, I will bring it to a close there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been fun. Yes, I would love a Sergeant Major as well, Jason. Yes, absolutely. I will be back with more cool stuff. We've obviously got, I imagine there's going to be some news this week. Obviously, we've got the pre-orders going up on Tuesday, so there might be some extra video content that Hasbro put up, like they did last week with the Dragonfly unboxing. There might just be more things in general. They might do a social post that reveals renders like they have done in the past. So fingers crossed we get something. I've got a Let's Talk Classified Footloose around the corner, and of course, other things in the pipeline. So I will leave you tonight. A very happy Father's Day. Have a full happy Father's Day, Force. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. See you later. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/TheFullForce. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well @TheFullForce Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force!